Amazing. Love from Kolkata. Beautiful. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother or sister. Blessings from Canada. Blessings from Canada. What's going on? I think I'm going to shift to try to do the major scale now more. C major. You know, I'm doing this A sharp minor more so because it complements the pan flute very beautifully, but it's also a magic key. Let's see how we can do this. Let's see how we can make this work. That's the transition we want. welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, sir. I hope so, bro. I'd hope so. 16 and a half years of guitar, 2.5 years of piano. Yeah. Perspective, my man. It's called challenging yourself. It's called pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And the key thing that's discomfort, because I can piano improv pretty fluently, but I'm trying to match actually doing piano improv with one hand while also doing pan flute improv with the other, which in the C major key requires a very specific angle that I have to train by ear. So this is the challenge. Yes, hence the challenge. What's good, brother? Welcome, Para. Welcome, Face. Welcome, name. Bro, river flows in me? No, not a clue, friend. Whoa. Lee, thank you for sharing your perspective. I don't know what that is, dog, but this is a music channel, brother, and thank you for being here, but this is not a religious scripture ideology channel. Go find one of those and preach your heart out, but this is not the place. Thank you, dog. Thank you, dog. Whose piano is that? That's my it's my mother's piano, yeah. This is my mom's piano. Pretty old, I'd say some of the lower notes are probably out of tune, but it's a piano, it's a nice one, yeah. Watched you walk away from it the other day when someone asked you, so that was a walk away. Interesting. Perspective. I don't think I've ever walked away when someone asked me for this, that, the other, yeah. Didn't he say he was going to work? Interesting. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to, but I'm a streamer, bro. I deal with thousands of people pretty frequently, day in, day out. I can't remember everybody, but I try. Yeah. I think I recall, well, there was a fellow yesterday. He was a regular that popped in, that was chiming in, saying some good words. Was going to work. I don't know. Yeah. I just woke up, I'm drinking cacao, warming up my piano flow, challenging myself by trying to bridge worlds with one hand piano, one hand pan flute. This is my intention today. Welcome to this live stream. This A sharp minor key, though, is a much more comprehensive key. That is for the pan flute. Just the way the pan flute is naturally made. It seems to have an easier or more accessible minor key. This is actually working pretty well. River Flows in You. Honestly, no idea how to play River Flows in You. I think I know of that song, but not a cover artist. Still not a cover artist. Don't want to get copyright stricken. Thank you, though. Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, I was repeating the same guy's comments. I learned today, successful day. Nice. That's the right spirit, brother. That's the right perspective. Today is a day of learning. Some days you learn a whole lot. You get humbled. Some days you get to just, what's the word? Harvest the seeds that you've been planting. Oh. Remember, friends, perfection is an illusion. Perfection is not real. Release the inner perfectionist in yourself. Let yourself be imperfect. Embrace imperfection. Embrace failure. This is so much beauty is on the other side of this. Yeah, this is chill. Some days we learn, some days we forget. Interesting. Some days we learn, some days we forget. Yeah, that's profound, bro. Some days we learn, some days we forget. Some days we learn, some days we remember. I remember a while ago I was kind of reflecting openly on a cardinal quest of us as human beings, in this modern society especially, is the quest to remember. That's a core part of our human experience, is literally just returning to the remembering. If we can focus on just simply remembering what we have forgotten on a deep level, of course. Remembering what our ancestors knew, what our bloodline knew, what we've forgotten. Words. With that flute, you can play Sad and Sorrow. That I can, actually. Yes, I can. That's actually one of the first songs. That's actually a different melody I'm going to. How does Sadness and Sorrow go again? it? That's a higher note that's kind of tricky to access. Maybe I'd be best to start in the lower key. No, that's the key. Yeah. With a bit of practice, you know, when the sadness and sorrow goes into the higher realm. Does that, but on the pan flute on a higher octave. Yeah. You know, I find pretty much every tune from Naruto, and from pretty much any anime you can imagine, any video game, any movie score, sounds really good on the pan flute. It's tricky, because as you may have seen, the key with the pan flute is to access different notes. You have to sometimes bend into the notes, and it's all by ear, it's all by feel, right? So let's kind of maybe flip that a little bit this way. So if I'm playing, you know, like a scale, some scales, if I'm in an alternate key, I got to actually bend fully into it, bend out of it, bend into it. And yeah, it's a very patient process. Good sound, though. Very good sound. River flows in you. Can you play The River Flows in Me? I honestly have no idea how to play that song yet. If I was playing on guitar, I probably could figure it out, but I don't want to get copyright infringed. Yeah. Want to do shrooms and watch you live. That sounds like a golden plan, my guy. I mean, I would quintessentially not advocate even being on your phone if you're on psilocybin, but if you're just chilling, listening to music in a community that literally is like promoting and advocating, you know, healthy, responsible psychedelic use, then hell yeah, dude. I think that would be a fun experience. Like just the fact that yesterday, you know, when the stream started, some dude was like, he's like, yeah, bro, I'm about to do some DMT. Any thoughts? Wish me luck, advice, or something like that. And I remember just giving him some good energy and be like, yeah, brother, like, I commend you, you got this. And that just felt great. I was like, yeah, brother, this is... And then even on my short live stream, someone was talking about, like, asking me questions about DMT, like, what's my perspective, or what do I think about it? And I was just like, yes, we're finding the right humans. Because this is right on brand. I mean, that being said, it's interesting. I've been thinking about this a lot. When I become monetized, right, when I'm receiving AdSense, I got sponsors and whatever, I probably can't be, like, going off in long tangents about DMT and shrooms and stuff. I mean, maybe I can if I'm very, like, intelligent with the way I speak about it. Like, you know, I'm just using, like, very ambiguous wording and talking about, like, the metaphysical dimensions. I'm not, like, talking about, say, shrooms or DMT. But I think it's, like, there's going to be a point that when I'm, like, fully monetized, and maybe, I don't know, depends on my sponsors, but I don't want to get demonetized just for saying all these things about shrooms. But what I'm probably going to be doing, well, I'm going to actually 100% be doing, is I'll be talking about these things briefly, but I'll probably, you know, stream into talking about music, quantum, philosophies, this, that, the other, but I will be going in deep dives in the same realm on my Patreon, because Patreon is like, you know, I can speak about DMT and shrooms all day long. So that's the beauty. It's all segueing into different domains. Listening to Post Malone, this wavy over-the-top tremolo. Wow, dude. I don't know, Joey. That seems like an L, my guy. I'm not sure if I want to be compared to Post Malone, but I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. So that, watch you live. So performing to the cabaret this Wednesday. Nice. That's cool, bro. Very cool, Jonathan. Performing in a cabaret. Yeah. Cabaret. That sounds very upscale, dog. That's beautiful. You should be proud. I have no shroom rules. Sometimes I want to watch stuff when I'm tripping. Yeah, no, I don't think I have rules per se, but intuitively when I'm on psilocybin, I almost always just drop everything. Not always, but almost always. I'll drop everything and go to the forest. Or pick up my guitar. or just start dancing, right? It's like, I feel like it's interesting the way you can prime that. What do I like to play? I mean, I love to play guitar. I love to play like almost like movie score type, composition type stuff. I also like to play a lot of modern finger style. You could call it progressive rock. Lots of stuff, dog. On the piano, I just kind of play an arrangement of improv. As today, I'm kind of in this realm where I'm desiring to integrate the pan flute notes very effectively. It's working pretty well. I'm just hearing the notes and feeling it. Brilliant. Yes, sir. My go-to. I mean, depends on the energy, but again, intuitively I like to do very meditative, almost like I create a lot of like sound journeys where I'm creating like a meditative style of music that on the guitar, because I'm pretty advanced on the guitar, I can like weave together, really various styles of finger style, like flamenco, classical, with like modern classical finger style. And I actually just kind of improvise on the piano, sort of using that style of playing. Like if you notice very closely, especially when I'm really in it, I find myself basically playing the piano very similar to how I play guitar. But of course, it's a piano, so it's got lots of unique nuances. Right now I'm playing this. Involving this kind of minor key, primarily A sharp minor. It's funny because the pan flute typically, it's usually actually played with two hands, quintessentially. I've been really practicing, working on learning to do the pan flute with one hand, as you can kind of see. Because I love to sort of multitask, weave in multiple dimensions. But it's beautiful. Once you get really good at the pan flute, you can basically use almost like an increased awareness of how to dial in your embouchure, that is your mouth placement and your mouth positioning. And just play around with the nuances. But pan flute's typically played with two hands. Yeah. What is good? What is good, Ocean? What is good? Unlike being around women when I'm on shrooms. Fair. I mean, that's particular. That seems very specific, but hey. I personally just love being around myself, I find. I can be around other humans, but I notice it's just like, I don't know. It's not the move. I like to be around just birds, in my solitude, just play guitar, just being around rivers, engage in no mind. I think that's the primary thing. I kind of spoke of this before, where shrooms, I feel like, it's a very unique experience that invites us to surrender into no mind. Like, it invites us to really explore the simplistic and honor it. You know, sometimes it's just by direct surrender. We don't even have a conscious control. It's like if you're on shrooms to a moderate dose, it's going to invite you to root yourself in your body, you know, in your breath. It's not like you even have much conscious choice. You're like, okay, I'm just going to relax. You often, the request that is underlying is to relax. And when you listen to that, you notice how your body often, more than not, is requesting that as well. Sweet. I get bored of myself. I like horses better than myself. Cool. Horses are pretty entertaining. Yeah. That's unfortunate, you know. I think because shrooms is really like, I think it's a sacred invitation, more than not, to sit with yourself. Because, yeah, we as human beings, we're so apt to just run away from the self. You know, we're surrounded by escapism. So it's like shrooms is often like a high calling to just be with yourself, to cultivate and build a loving relationship with yourself, right? Yeah, because, like, again, I speak of this openly, and for those of you that understand, may understand and resonate, but some of the most powerful, profound breakthroughs and reflections only can occur when you are in no mind. So that is, you can think, you know, you think, a lot of us, this is the weird paradox, is a lot of us think we make decisions from an intellectualized place. You think you need to maybe think things through more. You need to, you know, think more. But the reality is you more so need to think with self-awareness, with, it's like a quality of thought, not a quantity of thought. You don't need more thinking. You need a deeper rooting in why you're thinking that often comes from stillness, from meditative reflection. It's like, you know, you can make, if you're trying to make like intelligent, very important decisions in your life, often this genuinely requires the ability to be able to sit in stillness, honoring no mind. You know, sometimes the answer is not more mind, it's not more intellectualization, it's the opposite. It's literally like to make intelligent, very potent decisions, important decisions, it requires an ability to honor the no mind, the stillness. You know, you have to learn to see that in that meditative state, in that state of reflection, in that state of surrendering outside the mind, this is where you can see things with a different realm of clarity. And I'll be honest, I'd be as apt to say, I mean, I live a unique life. I'm a performance artist. A lot of my life revolves around intuitive dimensions. I intuitively connect dots. I intuitively understand, you know, the world around me. And this is a thing that in the modern society, a lot of people misconcept. They think it's all about the mind, the intellectualization. They think they just gotta almost like stimulate thought, stimulate decisions. But the reality of it's many rights, it's the opposite. It's like people actually gotta surrender into a deeper understanding that will give them clarity. It's all about clarity, you know? Like people can kind of speak about, you know, maybe they think they understand or they think they know to some degree, but whatever way you reach this, it's about understanding a deepened relationship with clarity. Like, can you discern? Can you differentiate? See the world around you and the things that you see and think and desire to bring to your reality with clarity. That's almost like I would say the quintessential spiritual quest is to reattain clarity in a world of illusions and delusions. Like, can you see things clearly? Can you act from a place of clarity? You know, and I feel if you can do so, then you will be fine. You'll succeed. That was not the right note. Food for thought, though. Food for thought. Explore the simplicity. We reckon giving trust, not earning trust, is what we suffer from. Truthfully, I think trust, much like Osho often tries to emulate, is trust is like similar to the models of things like love, things like we could say respect, where these are models that often we ourselves are misconcepting. We're attaching meaning to things that aren't actually what they are. And I don't know, I personally think trust is not a thing that we give or we try to earn or whatever. No, it's, you have to embody trust. You have to actually understand what it means to trust. Trust is an inward reflection of who you are, or the capacity that you have to trust. Like if you can trust, you've built a dimension of trust for yourself, for your path, for the universe, for your decisions, for the decisions that align with the people in your life. It's almost like trust is a reflection of a deep-seated realm of values and, beliefs that you yourself develop. If you can distrust people, you can try to reflect distrust and you will find it everywhere, but it's an internal thing. It's not something that you just have to earn or think that you have to earn this time. No, it's, I really feel it's like trust is just a state of being. You would trust because you are trust. You understand, you trust yourself ultimately. And that's a core thing. Like I speak about this a lot. And again, I'm not an expert. These are things that vary, sure, depending on your phase, your journey, what you're integrating. But I think ultimately the relationship you hold with yourself, the trust you develop within yourself is everything. It is everything. And almost what I'm fundamentally saying, and I've realized this over and over and over again, is there's nothing in this world actually that's worth compromising our relationship with ourselves. There's nothing in this world that is worth compromising the trust, the respect, the love, the reverence, the sacred context you built that is with ourselves. Like this is the truth, is like when we compromise our values, we could compromise these core things that reflect on our relationship with ourselves. This is where so many negative or even fragmented things stem from. If you're compromising your values and you're compromising your trust that you've developed with yourself, from an external projection or maybe some sort of external opinion or belief of other people, that's a core thing to look at. That's to be like, why are you fundamentally trying to, compromise your relationship or your relationship of trust with yourself? It's like, I don't know. It's a deep-seated thing. Like it's, and I'll be honest too, like here's another thing, right? If you're talking about trust, again, and like trust in your ability to act as a man, that's foundational. If you're talking about trust in your ability to, trust maybe like the outcomes of your decisions, if we're talking about trust in the context of romantic partnerships, forming intimate bonds, creating and aligning people in your life, or trusting maybe professional context, this and that. Again, these are all very different things, but on a fundamental level, this all has to do with the beliefs that you're internally creating. Like, and simply, if we're going to use the example of trust, because you might be referring to trust in the context of a romantic partnership. Like you're thinking, okay, maybe you're not, but if you're talking about like, okay, how can we trust? Trust is an embodiment. Like you trust universally, you're either trusting or you're not trusting. You're either embodying that you trust this person or you ultimately never did. And the reality is you yourself have to extract why you on a deepest level aren't, like the essence of your being is not trusting. Like you don't, it's almost like, why have you developed these like almost these one-dimensional condition-based dimensions of why you think trust is some sort of conditional endeavor? I don't know, it's a weird thing, but I almost say that if a person on a fundamental level is distrusting of a person or an experience or place or thing, that's you yourself need to examine your belief systems or your perimeters and boundaries of how you've created these things and maybe explore them, examine them, be like, why have you even developed this system, or why are you almost entrusting in this model of your reality, of your relationships that you have designed that basically is defaulting into a dimension of distrust? Like you're basically creating this, this realm or this domain of of how you can experience trust. It's all in you, basically. It's like you're setting the tone, you're setting the perimeters, you're setting everything that relates to trust. And especially we're talking about, again, this gets a little more convoluted or intricate when we're talking about intimate relationships, but I'm a firm believer in being a curious student of the social dynamics of relationships. And especially we're talking about trust. Trust is everything. It's fundamental. Like if you don't have trust in a romantic partnership, you have literally nothing. You don't have a relationship. You know, you have ultimately something that has a timer that's going to inevitably, create some sort of implosion. But if you do have trust, then you have everything. Like you have a deep, deep, like impossible, like almost like esoteric thread that connects you with somebody. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Because it's a deeply woven thing. Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. Like, brother, it's like you either have trust or you never had trust to begin with. Like, it's not like trust is not like a conditional thing where it's like you trust, now you don't trust, now you do, and they do. You can't earn necessarily, like if you betray someone's trust or you betray their trust, it's gone. You can try to earn it back, but maybe you can try to improve yourself as a human being, reflect on your values, reflect on the models you've created that you think trust is this conditional thing. But on a fundamental level, if you're betraying someone's trust, you're betraying the trust for yourself. Like you've already betrayed yourself. You've already split the model of what trust is. And again, if we're talking about the context of intimate partnerships, and intimate partnerships are a reflection of how we experience all human beings, we on a fundamental level, trust is everything. Like if you can establish a genuine level of trust, you show with your actions. This is again what it comes down to is if you trust yourself, you trust that you're a man that can operate out of a integral place. You trust the actions, you trust your actions, your words, and your thoughts align coherently. That's a fundamental thing. That's a thing you establish far before you project it outwards. And again, we're all imperfect. We're all gonna have to develop that. We're all gonna have to work on that. But yeah, deeply woven thing. I think it's so fundamental though. So it's beautiful to reflect on that, to talk about that. But I think it's simple. It is simple. You embody trust. It's like Osho kind of expresses. You become trust. It's like just like love. You aren't doing love. You aren't conditionally giving love. You are love. When you offer love, you are embodying it. You become it. It's a model that breaks open the model of a lot of us we experience in this society. We think these things are conditional, and then when we operate on the conditional, it's basically on an unconscious level. We're trying to almost play out this like manipulative, one-dimensional model where ultimately it's going to fail. Yeah. And again, these are my own experiences woven to things like Osho and other philosophers expressing and conveying on these things. And again, it's a thing that you got to understand and take time. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Thank you so much, brother. Mr. AW doesn't even have a name. You've revealed your hand. You've made this very clear that you're not a part of this community, that you don't have a true, I'd say, well-articulated opinion. You don't desire to communicate like an adult. So congratulations. You lost your rights to comment on this channel. You can leave now. I find it funny, like I'm increasingly, I like to be patient and everyone has free will to say whatever they desire. But I think it's almost funny to think that some people don't even again, this returns to what I've spoken about a lot is a lot of people are almost have an egregious, embarrassing ability to communicate. And yeah, it's almost like bizarre how people don't actually it's almost like a cognitive dissonance where they don't realize that it takes a fraction of a second to expel them from the community. And not only that, they're not entitled to be a part of this YouTube stream. Like, it's bizarre. It's like they're almost, I don't know. And again, I appreciate those that offer some sort of unhinged, outlandish thing because they make it really easy for me to filter who doesn't belong in this community. It's like, all right, another person that shows their hand, they've revealed their hand at their projection, and they've made this very easy. You know, they've made this very easy. They've just revealed their nature, and that's okay. Magic. What time is it right now? Beautiful. When you learn how to use an interface instead of your phone, Mike. Nice. To be clear, you're saying, you're saying use an interface, an audio interface that literally requires Ableton, requires an entire studio setup to record sound when I'm in a separate room, detached, not even close to my studio, to record the sound setup for, you know, whatever increase in volume. I'm all ears for increasing my audio quality. In the future, I'm actually going to invest in a higher quality lav mic. But yeah, bro, you can't connect an interface to nothing. Unless this is technology I'm unfamiliar with, but... I'm going to grab myself some more cacao, connect to an interface to a phone, an audio interface. I'll look into that. I gotta say the name though. Like you're treading thin ice, brother. Like I feel like you're well intended. You know, you've had a conversation or two. You've expressed some valid thoughts, but if you can't communicate in a way that's genuinely like almost like showcasing that you're a respectful human being, I may have to just ask you to leave this channel because I'm not sure if I'm not here to advocate or enable people that are trying to like be passive aggressive and, you know, don't have the ability to communicate their, you know, their musical perspective in an emotionally mature way. Because to make this very clear is, you know, I love musicians. I know many musicians. I love connecting with musicians. And I feel like this says a lot about a person's development as a musician when they are able to hold space and be respectful to other musicians. You know, it's almost like you see a musician sitting alone in his room playing guitar and or doing whatever he's doing, right? An advanced, like a truly developed musician isn't going to sit there and judge this person and tell them all the things they're doing wrong, like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. No, I think a person that has a self-awareness is going to appreciate, you know, the simplicity in every element of how this person is showing up and trying to put out their expression. So what I'm saying is, it's revealing that I think you're coming across a bit emotionally immature and underdeveloped as a musician the more you try to like almost project this level of passive aggressive in your comments. And again, you know, I'll give you the due diligence, but that's not what I want to enable in this community. Elise. Honestly, no idea how to play that song, my friend. One moment. I was choking on this cacao. Classic, yeah. Furlies. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, when I get to my studio, I'd love to look into what that song is. Admittedly, I've only been playing piano for like 2.5 years, so I don't really have the ability to improvise or sort of interpret certain songs. Plus, I don't desire to get copyrighted by any means, but... Beautiful. Beautiful. With that, I think we're gonna head down to this place. Existence in this 3D, baby. Human beings. Don't worry about copyright. Is that right? Well, I don't think in the ultimate scheme, yeah, I could get copyrighted if I played a song that's similar, maybe like improvise, blend in some notes. You're probably not wrong there. In the worst case scenario, I'm sure I'll get some sort of copyright, claim or whatever, not like an actual strike. But I think from what I understand is if you are still getting copyright claims or getting flagged, for little copyright things, that actually does negatively impact your traffic. It's almost like that can actually translate into getting shadow banned. You won't even have an awareness of like, oh, why are views plummeting or why is there some sort of thing? But again, I'm not an expert. I'm personally an improv artist and I do original stuff primarily, and I feel like it's a wise direction to sort of steer clear of anything that is playing to copyright infringement. I mean, in the future, I definitely intend to continuously, play stuff that's like improvising and paraphrasing and, doing honor or paying homage to like original or other people's music. But yeah, I don't know. What's good? Play metal plus half the chats. Nice. Turkish March. Half the chats. What? I think... Thank you for sharing your concerns, brother, about whatever's going on here. But this is welcome to 2026, name. I'm actually going to remove your ability to chat for the next 30 minutes because you don't seem to have self-awareness to fill this comment section. But this is an audio interface. This is an audio interface for your geezer self. Audio interface. Geezer. Audio interface. Nice to meet ya. It's called a Focusrite, yeah. Scarlet. That's what an audio interface is. I mean, you're probably right. There's other types of interfaces, mobile ones, but an interface, an audio interface, like this baby here, this is what I connect to my computer here. Yeah. But thanks for revealing yourself, name. Thank you for continuously revealing your inability to communicate like an adult, which is unfortunate, bro. You seem to have some perspective, but I don't know, man. When I'm juggling thousands of people, I don't desire to enable people, waste my time with people that, don't know how to emotionally regulate themselves or be self-aware. So, goodbye. Come back, stay, don't stay, doesn't matter to me, bro. It doesn't matter to me. But thank you for sharing and thank you for trying. So let's flip on this beautiful audio interface here. See how we can sort of play around with this sound here. Again, it's funny. It's like not to throw salt at people, and for the homie name, like he's all good. There's a mini violin bow used, work on nylon, steel string. It definitely, this is a steel string. The idea is actually, if you're gonna use a steel string, like say I use elixirs, right? These are elixir strings. And basically, you have to actually kind of grind down the string. It's like if you get a new string, right? It's like a fresh string. And you try to do the Picasso bow thing. This is actually something worth noting. I actually cover all this in a video that I released a while back. You actually got to kind of wear down the string slightly or coat it with the rosin to effectively allow the sound to flow through. Because yeah, I don't think it works on nylon, unfortunately, but I mean, I've never tried, but it's definitely, I think the steel is definitely what helps it create this sound, Let's see. What do we got going on here? Plug this in. Plugs in there. All checked here. This is here. Oof. I think we're all set. I think we're good. I definitely need to get new speakers though. That's the sad thing, is like Dragon Force. No can do about that, dog. Yeah, no. Yeah. Jazz fusion. Honestly, I don't even know what jazz fusion is, brother, but 1 second. Once I get this sound set up let's try something. This doesn't seem to want to cooperate. I think I know what we need to do. We need to remove this. Yeah. Flip off this. Flip off that. There we go. There we go. That's the fun. It's like I basically I had my my guitar rig on. Yeah. Nice. I don't think I have an ego, brother. It's called boundaries, brother. I mean, I don't know about you, Joe, but you show me, you show me your project, your community that you're building. You show me, let's have a discussion about what you think it takes to create a healthy, music-based community on YouTube. Tell me all about it, brother. I don't know, bro. You're making it abundantly clear. Like I actually never. I'm okay expressing, myself, expressing and sharing, what's the word? Just articulating why I feel the desire to create healthy boundaries in a community, right? What's like whether we are just trying to have a discussion about music or share thoughts. Like I think there's some people that, for whatever reason, they reveal very aptly. Maybe there's sometimes they're just people that are passive aggressive or just don't know how to communicate effectively, and those are people that are 1,000%. I know for a fact. Like this, think about like this, Joe. Because if you're still here, amazing. If you're not, it's up to you, bro. But the reality of it is, this is a community that is going to, grow as it is. And when I'm juggling thousands of people, you realize I don't desire or actually need people that don't fit this viewership. Like if people aren't my viewers, right? If a person that's like, doesn't have the ability to communicate, they're, just not, I don't know, they just fail to communicate themselves intelligently. Obviously, I'm going to ask them to leave, or I'm going to give them a short timeout, or, disable their comments for good reason. Like, I don't know about you, Joe, but you tell me about your business plan, brother. You tell me all about what your YouTube channel is going. Tell me how that's going, dog. Anyways, back to doing music. Let's adjust this a little bit here. Let's turn that down a little bit. Welcome to this live stream. Welcome to this live stream. Ego needs to be formed, not disregarded. Yeah, it's honestly, my intuitive response is, what's wrong with ego? Like, we're not going to pretend like we're all humans. We all have egos, right? Obviously, we don't want to become narcissists. We don't want to enable people that are just like ego, 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 ego. But again, this is the thing that I find funny. And like, let's make this abundantly clear. Accountability is healthy. If people are going to not desire to understand that there's consequences for their actions. We're on YouTube, right? This is a YouTube stream, right? This is not the real world in some degree, in various degrees. I love communicating this. This is a thing that I think is a core, central problem for a lot of people, and that's okay. They've failed to establish the role of interacting with human beings in the real world. It's like they're out of touch with reality, right? And that's unfortunately just the world we're in 2026. But this is the key thing is, and I love doing this. I love being this example. I love being this embodiment of accountability. If a person like Joe, like Name, right? Name's only been here for 24 hours. He popped in yesterday. Seems like he has had some strong opinions. He seems to be a musician. He resonates. He's openly exclaimed he likes this, that about the violin dimension. He seems like he's an open dude, But it's interesting when people, it doesn't matter if you're a musician, it doesn't matter how highly you regard yourself or, what you think your perception of yourself. If you cannot communicate in an emotionally mature way and you lack accountability, as a man to a fellow man, I'm not even gonna hesitate. I'm gonna hold people accountable. And obviously this is a YouTube stream. I don't have time to sit here and, air out people's, broken psychological models. But yeah, I'm going to ban people or give them, send them on their way, respectively. Like, if people aren't a part of this community and they don't desire to actually contribute to this community in a healthy way, then of course, this isn't even ego, bro. This is intelligent, this is emotional intelligence, right? This is boundary 101. This is accountability 101. And that's the sort of sad reality is when people like maybe Joe, not to throw salt at Joe didn't seem like he was being that outlandish. To name whoever, right? This is just an example. If people, men particularly, I'm a man, I understand, I have men, in my immediate sphere, and this is the same in the real world. When men fail to be held accountable, like in their life, right? They fail to be held accountable, realizing there's consequences for their actions, realizing the things they say, if they're outlandish, disrespectful, whatever, they can do it all day long. They can think that with a shred of self-awareness that people aren't going to hold them accountable, but when they get held accountable, they're going to get triggered. They're gonna be like, oh man, that was this, that, the other. It's just accountability. Welcome to the real world, friend. But I don't know, it's no big deal. This is no news to me. It's no news flash. Part of wanting to desire to build a healthy community, when you're juggling thousands of people and you're wanting to, desire to build a healthy community that knows how to, communicate in a self-aware way and etc., obviously you're going to have to be discerning. You're not just going to be like, all right, everybody, everybody's welcome, whatever, XYZ. No, I don't give a flying fuck. Like, I'll dismiss people from my channel like that if they're going to be disrespectful or rude. It's not even about me or them. They need accountability. They need to have boundaries set. Like, probably their father has failed to set boundaries, failed to teach them accountability. And it's a shame, but welcome to 2026. Anyways, this is a music channel. This is a music channel. Can you play country? I mean, I've tried, bro. I've tried. When people are like, yo, play country, I'm like, is this country? No, that's more classic. I don't know. I know country. I know it exists. I have an idea of how it operates, but it's so out of my zone that I intuitively fall into like classic or jazz. Like, I resonate deeply with classic and jazz and stuff like that. Do I have any songs on Spotify? Currently, I don't, Brian. In the future, absolutely, though. I was thinking about that just earlier, though. Check out Mumford, Relax, Ed Sheeran. Also, not familiar. Yeah. But I mean, I love it. A final thought before we return to the music indefinitely. I think it's interesting, in my opinion, as a, man, to like maybe project or maybe offering this or emulating this to other men. In the real world, naturally, like, this is obviously more so the role that I play in this, but this is live stream, extension of this. I think it's a high honor to actually hold other men accountable. Like, if we're talking about this in the extreme measure, sure, people saying, throwing salt in live stream, this is minuscule, right? This is just, it's tiny. It's very minuscule in the larger construct. But I'm telling you, this is a thing that happens in the real world all the time. Men need to be held accountable. And, when I see people that are like pushing people's boundaries, just walking around being passive aggressive, I can say for certain, I can understand the psychology of these are probably men that, again, don't have people hold them accountable. And guess what? When men don't have accountability present, egregious, horrendous things happen. This is where self-destructive, destructive masculine energy goes in a rampart. And again, masculine energy is beautiful. Masculine energy in its embodiment, in its truth, is extraordinary, integrated masculine energy. But without a shadow of a doubt, what I'm saying is, in the real world, when you see people, and again, we're just using this as a minor example to launch off into how men that fail to be held accountable for their actions, they don't realize the consequences of their actions, these are disintegrated, egregious human beings. Like, this is, go around, look at the construct of how men who are not held accountable, how they deal with their problems, how they deal with the opposite sex, how they deal with XYZ. These are not actions that we should be, not holding people accountable. People just, not even saying men out of the equation, human beings need to be held accountable for that action. This is a sacred rule of the masculine. Obviously, all human beings should hold each other accountable. But what I'm saying is, men are meant to be protectors. They're meant to be, have integrity. They're meant to be just beings of honor. It's like these are ancient values. So I think it's egregious when men, for whatever reason, men and women, whatever, right? We all need accountability as human beings. We should hold ourselves accountable, first and foremost. This is self-awareness 101. So this is why when I see people that are like, displaying openly that they have a lack of self-awareness, it's It's unfortunate. You know, it's a red flag in my mind. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but this is not a community member that deserves my energy. Yeah. Can you say if the resin comes in with the bow, what kind of, and how you apply it? Oh, word. Word, okay. I can send you to Hard to Please Guy. I can definitely send you, brother. I can send you, I don't talk about all these things, though, on that one short, yeah. Any advice for acting improv? Wow. I would love to talk about acting improv, Ocean. I'm not an expert, but... So, I'm sorry, I lost connection. Can you say that the resin comes with a bow? Okay, so the resin, yeah, bro. The resin you order, right? Or sorry, the bow you order. It comes with, let me show you. When you order the bow, it comes with this. This is the rosin. So it's like it's a light rosin. It's not bad. It's actually, you know, it is a type of violin rosin. It's like a light amber rosin, right? But this is the one I like to use that I purchase. It's the D'Ardio. So, you know, D'Ardio is this, where is it? You know, it's the brand, they make guitar strings and all that stuff. It's D'Ardio. They very much, you can purchase this rosin. Pretty cheap. Purchase this on Amazon. And then as you are, if you desire to use, you know, the Picasso bow, you just grind this down. You know, use like a sandpaper or whatever you have, right? And then you just apply the rosin as it is. But yeah, dog. Yeah. Choose to interact with the liminal spaces. The desire to be seen and heard, and we find something you resonate with. Yeah. And a constant human folly of being led by that desire. Absolutely. Beautifully said, because that's the interesting thing too, Bob Wilkinson, guitar. It's a paradox. You're 100% right. It's a very bizarre paradox that, even to name, right, the homie that was here earlier, that I had to just remove his comment rights, you realize that it's a bizarre paradox. This, and a lot of these things are, a lot of these things in life, but when we're talking about psychology, it is a paradox. On one level, on one hand, they have a deep desire to surface, to, you know, project. This is what projection is. A person's like, I'm going to reveal my insecurities, I'm going to reveal my negative projections, hoping desperately that there's someone emotionally mature enough to hold space for their projections. This is what's going on. It's like, they're just like, oh, I'm feeling, you know, insecure, I'm going to be passive aggressive, I'm going to project this negativity, but with an unconscious desire to still connect with this fellow human being. You know, it's like even name, he was a musician, he expressed he was, you know, a little bit older, but even the way he framed saying, oh, I'm older than you, I know better, blah, 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 that this, that, it seemed that he had so much passive-aggressive rooting in what he was saying. He was inability to communicate himself in an emotionally intelligent way, which is, again, unfortunate, because he didn't seem like a bad dude. Like, hell, most of these people that I'm going to send on their way or be like, hey, I'm going to remove your comments, they're not bad people. I'm not shaming them or being like, hey, man, like, this, that, the other. No, they're people that on an unconscious level do not know how to be holding space for this kind of capacity. They don't know how to communicate themselves, like I've said a billion times. And on some level, they want to be a part of this community. On some level, they'd love to communicate, talk about music, learn. Like, they would love to learn. And I'm here to teach. I'm here to hold space and teach people if they desire to learn about guitar, about whatever, or learn from them. Like, I'm here to learn from them as well. And I'm very open-hearted and honest about that. But again, it comes down to, yeah, humans, and that's kind of what I spoke of, is when humans fail to be held accountable, when they move in this unconscious thing away from self-awareness, they self-sabotage. Like, humans, they are self-sabotaging. They destruct. They destroy themselves. They're self-destructive when they're unconscious. And again, it's like I see through these people's, you know, little thinly veiled projections, and it's not that I'm trying to, like, you know, cast them into the shadows, but I don't have time for this. Like, I don't have time for people that are trying to fill my comment section with weird, you know, incoherent, passive this, that. It's like, no, brother, we're trying to create a community of hundreds of thousands of millions of people. We're setting a boundary. We're creating a standard. We desire to have people that have similar values that are here. Those that don't align with those values, find another community. Please exit respectively. And that's kind of that's the whole intention with it, right? But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I'll take it with a grain of salt. You know, I chose this life. I chose this role as a YouTuber facilitator guy. And I got this. Like, and it's kind of like I said a million times. People, they reveal their hand. Like, here we are. It's like we're playing this game of cards. And, you know, everyone's like, okay, we're playing our cards. Lay down a card. And then at some point, if they just reveal their hand, they're like, oh, this is my intentions. This is my limitations of how I can communicate and perceive things. They revealed their hand. Well, they've made this very easy for me to be like, okay, well, you can leave now. I thought that was wax. Ah, you're referring to this? Yeah, it's violin rosin. It's violin rosin. It looks very like, yeah, like strange, but it's the same thing violinists use. Like it's weird. It's like it's literally just a rosin. So it's like I don't even know exactly, like a form of rosin that you just, apply to a bow, and then suddenly it unlocks this beautiful ability to create beautiful sounds. Just kind of mediate that sound a little bit. Back again from the UK. Nice. I would love to travel to the UK one day, I feel. But Jeffrey. Huh. Interesting. I'm just going through these comments here just to kind of... But yeah, bro. Man. Acting improv. To the acting improv comment, I mean, I'm not really an actor, bro. I did acting as a kid because I'm a twin. And I've worked in the film industry. I wouldn't consider myself like a principal actor. I've been upgraded actually a couple times from background to principal acting roles. But I'm surely probably not the guy to go about to ask about improv acting. There's probably acting coaches out there. But honestly, I love improv acting. That's actually the primary reason I'm even in film, is because I want to learn to do improv acting so I can, create skits and creatively explore acting on an improvised level. But I've definitely been on many film sets and I've practiced improv acting. And I'll be honest, from what I've gathered, I think improvised acting, improv acting, is very similar to improv on the guitar. It's similar to improv in a musical performance where you're singing. It's similar to improv when you're dancing. Basically, all of improv, I really feel, obviously, if you're talking about improv acting as a whole, acting requires having an awareness of your eye level, your eye line. You gotta know where you're looking as an actor. You want to have an awareness of your body language, and you want to be natural, like you're just living in your everyday expression. But when we're talking about improv acting, like you're in the heat of a moment and you're like, let's go into character. I think it really has to do with the same thing that all improv has to do with. And it's basically learning to channel in the moment your expression. And now acting is a very what's the word? It's a very felt thing. It's like a very dynamic, animated thing. You got to go be animated. You want to make it real. It's like, if we were acting, I honestly, again, I'm not really an actor. I don't really enter that very often. But if we were Timothy Chalamet, you go into an acting performance and you're all unapologetically in character. Acting, a lot of it has to do with interacting with the things around you. If you're an actor, right, and you're maybe you're a character, you're in character and you're just taking out a book and you're just you're just making it so real because your expressions are wearing it, you're feeling it. It's almost like you're getting so imaginative with all the different things you're interacting with. This is how I like to improv. It's if you have props per se, it's just you have various props of a sort, and maybe your prop is your ring, or maybe your prop is some sort of shades or something. You just got to become so engaged in your props and become so creative with your props that you get in a flow state. That's basically what I'm saying is, and acting, from what I've seen, and it's easier because in acting you have a set. You have different actors with you. Everyone's on their cue, everyone's around you, and it's easier to make it real. But in a lot of acting, you get into a flow state. It's literally as simple as you're in a flow state. Anything that flows through, it flows. You're just this occurs, okay, this occurs. This occurs, and eventually you're in such a fluent flow state that everything that occurs, your mind just has a response that you naturally enable and unapologetically express. If that makes sense. Again, I'm not an expert, but this is what I would love to learn more and do more. Yeah. No, I know. Honestly, the caveat is, I don't know, the one homie that dropped something about what do you think God thinks about Epstein. I don't know. I don't like to touch that kind of shit with a 10-foot pole. Like, trust is like, I think most of us all have a very clear awareness, morally and integrally, how egregious, how monstrous this situation is. But we don't need to sit there and talk about. Like, I think the simplest way I like to put it is, I'm gonna give people that are doing beautiful, you know, life-changing, powerful things in, for the world, for the better. I'm gonna give those people my energy. I'm not gonna sit here and fixate all day long about the monstrosities of this world, because yes, brothers and sisters, if you look clear into the world, if your eyes are open, you're actually living in the real world, and you look into the realm of what the collective shadow is experiencing, yes, this world is quite fucked up. Yeah, there's fucked up human beings, unfortunately, yes. And if you're living on the real world, and you're, acting and living, you're truly a part of it, you've realized this a long ass time ago. This is no surprise, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't touch those kind of things with a 10-foot pole, because this is not what this channel is about. And I would probably invite people that are trying to fixate on even just like God's interpretation. That's a whole nother thing that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. That's not even relevant. But it's like, let's focus our energy on people doing beautiful and extraordinary things for the betterment of humanity and humankind. Let's give those people our energy. Let's not try to give these atrocities and monstrous people our energy. At least that example from the homie of that. But anyways, food for thought. You likened him to a fool, but somehow he is wiser. Interesting. Nice. Well, to 10 Surat. Man, there's an energy in the air today. I think a lot of people are, they're going through the ringer. But yeah, no, I want to make this very clear. Welcome to this channel 10. To Terry. Sorry, Terry. Saw a lot. Couldn't see through the light in there. But yeah, welcome to this channel, Terry, because you're obviously new to here. This is a music channel. We talk about guitar. We talk about philosophies, creative expression. I love to really let people exercise their freedom of expression. But we 1000% stray away from political ideologies and religious ideologies. For good reason. Express your truth, brother. Find streams that are promoting political discussions and ideologies. I promote that. In the real world, I would have that with you all day long, brother. But this is a YouTube live stream. This is a YouTube channel. It's a community that I'm building relating to music. Political ideologies like what you just expressed about fascism and Hitler. These are important things, brother, but that has nothing to do with this channel. This is not the place. And even further, this is the internet. Welcome to 2026. Do you really think that you're doing justice about expressing, arguing about domains of fascism, etc., by having these one-dimensional conversations on the internet? Probably not. Probably not, my man. So yeah, I'd say keep it, let's see. I'd say keep it on topic. Welcome if you have thoughts about music or whatever you desire. Yeah. Nice. I love this, bro. I love this game, bro. Like, Terry, thank you, brother. Thank you for revealing your hand. You've shown that you have the inability to hold space for this community. You're not a member of this community, so thank you for revealing this in your projection. You've made this easy. You filtered yourself out. Yeah. So goodbye. Goodbye, Terry. All I can say to Terry is I hope, if you're still listening here, if you're not, goodbye. But if you're still here, Terry, I hope you learn in the real world, because this is a YouTube live stream, brother. I think you've made a little bit of a misconception, but I hope in the real world you don't almost like uninvite yourself from deeper connections to people who are trying to, connect through music or be a part of music communities or, open-hearted, expressive communities. I hope you don't think that's how you try to communicate your truth, drop some sort of political agenda or political, argument that's loaded, that's triggered, and then think that that's how you're supposed to communicate your truth, because you failed to do so. Like, evidently, if you were thinking that was the way to, do justice to your cause or talk about, real things, brother, like talking about what you desire to talk about, that's okay. But I think you've you're probably scaring, you're probably pushing away people that actually want to hold space for you. And that sucks, bro. Anyways, I gotta plug in my phone because my phone's battery is getting pretty low somehow. Strange times. It's honestly, I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you guys are finding yourself feel present, feel open-minded, making strides in your life, seeing the world with clarity, allowing yourself to express yourself. 1 second. This is what I need to do. Yeah. But yeah, it seems that from the random few strangers that have popped in that are kind of saying some, sharing their truth or maybe not aligning with this channel, it seems like I'm noticing that there's a number of people on this channel or that have popped on this channel, the stream, right, that seem to be, I don't know, pretty unhinged. Like, people are going through some stuff. This is what I'm seeing collectively. There's some people that are revealing that they're really not rooted in their truth right now. They're really not having a good time in this human experience, which is okay. But man, shout out clarity and peace of mind. Hopefully the people that are here to project, their whatever their agendas are, hopefully they find some sort of peace. Hopefully they figure out, what they're doing is probably not working, and hopefully, whatever they're going through, they can integrate it. That's all I can say. This world, man. Contain your emotion, Terry. Terry's gonna try, but I don't know. I think, again, it's unfortunate, but Terry, I think he made it very evidently clear, he's just not one to be able to successfully communicate or do justice to his farce, his political thoughts, which is, whatever. It's like, this is the thing, I won't go too deep in this rabbit hole, but, even if you're a fellow that has strong opinions, right, you're like, I really strongly believe behind this political movement. That's cool. I think that's beautiful. I love passionate, tenacious human beings. But I think when people don't realize how their lack of self-awareness is they're doing a disservice to whatever it is they're trying to advocate. They're literally like, they're projecting, they're doing like this broken straw man, negative projecting just bullshit. Like, they're not doing service, they're not doing justice, whatever it is their political agenda is. That's embarrassing. Like, they're making their argument or whatever they're trying to stand behind they're making it look bad, and that sucks. If a person wants to speak their truth, if they want to defend some political dimensions that they think is important, they're passionate about it, I commend that. We're all for that. I'm all for authentic truth. But when people fail to do that, that's unfortunate. Those are people that clearly are going to be doing that all day long in the real world. They're doing a disservice to their political movement, and that's unfortunate. That's why I love to just kind of throw some salt in their face and be like, hey guy, like, do you realize how much you're like demeriting and almost embarrassingly communicating whatever your point is? Because again, like, let's be real here. People can, in fact, and should, in fact, if you have strong opinions about, we can apply this to any given domain, if you're talking about psychological dimensions or philosophical domains, or you're talking about music, right? This is this perfect example of the fellow that was here earlier. You can and should be able to communicate your truth in an emotionally intelligent way. If you fail to do that, that's on you. That's on your inability to effectively regulate yourself, to have self-awareness, to communicate your truth, your points in an intelligent way. And that says more about you. It has nothing to do with the political argument or whether the person's thoughts are or about you versus them. No. This is about your inability to hold space, to basically have a healthy debate or an argument, right? And that's, I don't know, that's a whole nother issue, right? Am I trying to hypnotize you? I don't know, bro. I don't know, is it working? Like, I don't know. No, this is a prop, brother. This is an illusion. It's a contact juggle ball where it's doing isolations. I personally find it very enjoyable. And in the real world, this is actually really, the illusion is a lot more crystal clear. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, bro, we're here to hear music. This is because we're here right now, because right now you're projecting. Brother, do you realize what's going on here? You do realize, Chaz, I'm going to give you a moment, brother. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm giving you 5 minutes, dog. Thank you. You've unlocked a new achievement, Chaz. I'm sure you're familiar with this, brother, because you seem like someone that this applies. You've unlocked a new achievement. 5 minutes, timeout. Goodbye. And I'll give you those 5 minutes to think about, why you're adding irrelevant babble to this chat here. Because absolutely, this is a music channel. I'm here to teach music, talk about music, play music. This is really the forefront of my intention. But I'm honestly, another part of this is I'm going to hold space for the community and for the community I want to develop. I'm going to express my truth authentically. And if that doesn't align with your whatever's going on here, then obviously you're not a part of this community. It's 12:45. Let's place this right over here. Welcome to this live stream. You're sending me the bow video. Sure. Yeah, dog. I don't know how I do that, but I think, yeah, bro, what I can do is to hard to please. I'll send you my long or my short video. I'll look for it and I'll post it on my post page. What I can do is I'll share it on my post page, and I'll do a post on my YouTube channel where I can show you the short. Magic. 1 second, friends. I'm gonna grab an incense, a ritual incense. Is that the one? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Have you heard of the fingerstyle classic guitarist Martin? Yes. Yes, I have, Ocean. Yes, I have. I love Marcin. Yeah. I remember when I was younger, or like a few years back when I discovered Marcin, I was like, whoa, who is this dude? Like, why is he so insanely confident for a young classical guitarist? But the more I heard him talk in an interview and understood his perspective, he seems like a stellar human being, and clearly is a very talented, devoted musician. So I love Marcin, yeah. What's good, Dub? What's good, Dub Devin? He's inspiring. Shout out Attack on Titan, for those of you that know. Those kind of songs. You look a lot like Heath Ledger. Absolutely. Thank you, Joseph. And yes, brother. Rest in peace, Heath. I love Heath. I love Heath Ledger. Yeah. Too talented to waste too much time responding to baiters. Maybe. You're probably right. I mean, honestly, bro, hard to please. Yes and no. I mean, absolutely. It's not about necessarily being baited, but it is about, this is what I think is important, because I've been a YouTuber, streamer for 5 months now, right? 8 months I've had this channel, since 0 to right now. I actually genuinely believe, this is very important. If you want to succeed as a YouTuber, as a streamer, whatever, right? You actually have to set boundaries in a community. If I did nothing, right? If I was like, oh, no, let's say nothing. Maybe you're right. I could, to some degree, just ban these people and not even acknowledge their behavior. That's fine. But I think it's actually important to, one, again, hold people accountable. To actually let people know that there's accountability present here.
and also let them know that there's a standard. You know, we want people to feel safe, to have an actual healthy, emotionally regulated community. I think that is actually worth my time. This isn't me getting baited or getting emotionally invested too heavily. This is me actually trying to explain to people that this is a powerful opportunity to talk about boundaries, to talk about important things. And yeah, you're right to some degree, and this will be the future of when I move forward. I will just focus strictly on the music. You know, I'll hire moderators that will bring in and do these duties, absolutely. But I think at this point, I'm in a very unique time to actually set the pretext, to set the pretense of what this channel is about. I want people to understand that this is a channel that I know, as I desire to bring it to a larger audience, you know, it's going to grow inevitably, right? I don't want people to feel like, you know, people that are, again, like maybe manipulative or passive aggressive or, you know, just projecting negativity left, right, and center, which is what, unfortunately, you know, the 1% or 5% of people are going to do. I don't want those people to feel welcome. I don't want those people to have any sort of inclination that I'm not going to, you know, hold them accountable, call them out and be like, hey, you're not welcome here. And it's not a thing I'm going to do for an extended period of time. And hell, sure, when I'm juggling 100,000 people, I probably won't give them a single, you know, a single moment's thought. But the reality is, I think it's actually healthy for myself, for them, like for them as well, to actually have that, to realize, oh, wait a second, this is not a channel that they're just going to passively accept and enable people that are going to just project negativity. This is not the place. They're not welcome. That's a very important thing. And this isn't just about on a YouTube stream. This is actually how it operates in the real world, right? But thank you, yeah, for the rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Yeah, I'll send again. I'll post it on there, brother. I'm burning a ritual incense. Yeah, it's these babies. It's a basically it's a ritual incense. That's an incense rope. I'm in, you know, Canada, but these are actually from Nepal. So they take a bunch of herbs, very pure herbs, and they basically roll these. Yeah, it's from a place called the Incense Cottage. It's a place in Nepal where this traveling merchant, he purchases these and he sells them, you know, on this beach, on this beautiful beach in Vancouver. Very cool guy. I love the guy. But yeah, it's very beautiful because it's basically a cottage that's like a temple. It's a cottage that's like a temple where women, like sacred women or women that are at this temple, that are like basically monks or priestesses, they sit there in a meditative trance and they roll these incense ropes. They spend all day just rolling these incense ropes. This is what I was told. So I like them. I like them. Chew cloves to stop smoking. Nice. Good to know. I don't smoke, but haven't smoked in 11 years. But that's a good tip for those that, you know, may need to quit smoking. I don't know. What's good? What's good? Do you burn Palo Santo? I do, yeah. I do sometimes. Yo, Mystery is back. Nice. Absolutely. I'm not sure if that's a person or if you're referring to yourself, but welcome. Welcome. until you think you're cool. I mean, I don't give a flying fuck what people think. I can tell you do, though. I can tell you give a crap what people think. So I have a feeling, Timmy, you're gonna care, unfortunately. I know it's gonna hurt your feelings, brother. It's gonna hurt your feelings when I give you this 30-minute timeout, but yeah. Hope you figure it out, though. Hope you figure it out. That people don't, the world doesn't revolve around you. People don't give a fuck. People are gonna offend your fragile, view of the world. How long have you been playing guitar? I've been playing guitar for about 16 and a half years, yeah. Acoustic for about 11 and electric for about 16, yeah. What's good, Mark? What's good, bruv? Yeah, it's been a journey. Can I play any metal songs? Not really. In truth, I haven't really focused covers in many years. It's been at least 7-8 years since I've really focused covers, especially metal song covers. I did that a lot when I was 11, 12 years old. That was the first thing I started with, was a lot of Avenged Sevenfold, Disturbed, lots of Metallica, lots of Breaking Benjamin, lots of 3 Days Grace. That's I just focused that. But, actually, I'll take this out at some point. I have a new Ibanez guitar. If you've been on this channel or popped in the last few days, I purchased an Ibanez. Beautiful guitar. And I haven't had an Ibanez, or any electric guitar actually, for about 4 months. So it's been a beautiful rediscovery, exploring the electric guitar once again, just really leaning into all those beautiful elements of the electric guitar. It's very special. Beautiful though, I feel like the electric guitar, it teaches you a lot about just how sensitive, electric pickups are. When you're really trying to play artificial harmonics, or squealies as they are, you play a harmonic and you're bending into it, right? Those require such gentle nuance when you're playing electric guitar. Let me grab my Ibanez for a moment. It's just staring at me. It's just sitting there. This is my new Ibanez. Yeah, let's plug this one in. Let's throw on a little metalcore stereo. Second. Flip off this. Yeah, it's such a visually attractive guitar. I've been really hyped on this. Let's kind of master the sound a bit. Find where I placed my pick. Where is this pick? Where'd you go? The crazy thing is my pick blends in with a lot of my environment. No? Yeah? No? Pick? So that? I don't know, my primary pick is not to be found. It might show up, but I'll just use one of these thicker picks. They kind of suck for These speakers are trash, to be honest, sadly. My technique is very sloppy right now, but it works. It works. Let's see. Sup, it's the cool kid. I had a channel adjustments. Nice. Oh, it's Cool Key. I see. Cool Key. There's a kid called Cool Kid, I remember. Nice. A channel adjustment. That's beautiful. I commend you. You gotta love channel adjustments. You gotta love evolving the brand. Feels like my sound's a little bit off. Let's see what we can do with this. Oh, this. Throw this into the second. Let's negate that. That's the funny thing is I feel like the trick of the Ibanez isn't the guitar itself, in my experience right now. It's about mastering the sound to create a good audio experience. I have to like play around with like mastering and equalizing the sound. And truthfully, my sound setup is kind of dog shit. Like that's kind of why I'll be sometimes like hesitant to really play a lot on this Ibanez, is because the sound, it can be so much better, but I need to upgrade my speakers and I need to play around with the right audio setup. Sounds alright though. I need to adjust it still though. I need to play around with that. A little bit of that. Plus my harmonics are trash, but you know, that's the breaks. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. That clean. And of course, you know, effectively switching keys, I think, is the magic. The magic part of playing electric. Wonka. Nice. High praise, brother. High praise. Who doesn't like Wonka? I don't know. It's not the move. It's not the thing we're going for, but we'll take it. Any amp recommendations? I'm about to purchase an Epiphone Les Paul Special, currently only on Place Acoustic. Honestly, bro, I use Vox, Black Star, and Lion 6. But I primarily right now, like, I'm plugged into Ableton using a guitar rig. So it's a virtual amp. I actually think that's, weirdly enough, because you plug in through an audio interface, that has the cleanest, most refined sound, but you got to experiment a lot with it. And that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm expressing, I love the sound I got. It's decent, but it can be way, way better. I have to take some time to like play around and kind of master the audio. Because, yeah, I mean, Vox is a good amp. I primarily have a Vox and a Black Star. It's because they're portable. I can take them anywhere. I can go perform, or I can play on beaches. I can do whatever I want with these amps. My speakers though, you may or may not hear it. They're just cooked. I need to go on my way to get new speakers probably next week, and then it's gonna sound a million times better. But these are the breaks. I've had just like yours. I hid my cheese under it. Do I like cheese? Wow, that's crazy, dude. Wow, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That's pretty weird, bro. No, I don't. I haven't eaten cheese in like 10 years. No judgment though. You know, eat cheese, bro. Life is short. Do what you like. I think we got that. That's actually way better. That's a way better idea. Let's fuck with. Whoa. Let's flip this here. Get out of there. Turn that up a bit. I don't know, man. Such a weird. Yeah, that attack is not it, bro. Expensive almond milk. Nice. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Something about almond. Yeah, expensive almond milk. Yeah, drink almond milk you desire. I honestly just choose to drink water. I mean, I don't know, man. Just drink lots of water, you know? Let's try something else. Let's try to deviate from the Rome setting. Play around a little bit with our audio here. So audio, got our rig here, this blue guy. Basic analog. That's the yellow here. I want this sort of blue. Is that the one? Okay, so it's bouncing the green. So let's set that beige. I got way too many audio things open. slowly getting there. We're getting those harmonics down. Don't have to worry about having a kidney stone since you drink so much water. Charm. Charm. I think from remember reading, I mean, I'm not an expert. I think my health is, is good and more or less. But I think kidney stones also has a lot to do with your, what is it? Your calcium intake versus your, what is it? There's a thing that calcium balances. Like it's the thing that, what is it? Oxalates? Yeah, it's like your oxalate intake. That apparently your oxalate intake in unison to your calcium intake, that has a lot to do with kidney stones. I don't know. I don't have kidney stones, fortunately. I've never concerned myself with that, but yeah. Drink water, watch your oxalate intakes. Yeah. That just kills me the way I need to just purchase new speakers very soon and then we're golden. Watch your juice, eh? Watch your juice. Watch your juice. Clean the strings after you use the bow on the guitar, or the rosin will build up and as you get sticky mess with the sound. Sure. I mean, for my acoustic guitar, actually I don't mind having a rosin built because it's the rosin on the strings, at least where I'm doing harmonics, which does actually help with the sound. But of course, yeah, I mean, I don't ever use the rosin or anything on this. Like my hands are clean when I'm playing my electric guitar. But yeah. Mhm. Definitely didn't. No, it's about I am fortunate to do many different things that facilitate healthy kidneys. And yeah. So I don't think I it's not a concern of mine. Like I'm not I don't think I'm fortunate I don't have to deal with kidney stones anytime soon, man. But all I'm saying is the research that I have came across relating to kidney stones that really struck me was understanding oxalates. They're present in a lot of foods, and it's almost like apparently that's a very common thing that I found very interesting is oxalates and calcium. Like if you have inadequate calcium intake and you have too many or excess oxalates intake, that can actually translate into kidney stones. That's basically what I was sharing, bruv. Oh, trust. I know. I think we all have an awareness of how kidney stones are like. I'm sure an absolutely painful endeavor. Like it's. I think everyone has an awareness of what's. There it is. Yeah, my harmonics, man. They got something left to be desired. Magnesium. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Giving a hard time. Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I am desensitized to the farce or the challenges. I'm sure of kidney stones. I'm just saying objectively. I'm a strong believer, and that's cool, bro. Yeah, you made a good point. I think in general, I'm really open to honoring the health. And like I spend, a massive amount of time and energy learning about health, like my health. I train 3 to 4 days a week, strength training, mobility training, calisthenic training, and I eat a very clean diet. I spend a lot of time honoring the health. So I'm a strong believer in, not, I don't know, about kidney stone health. That could have a deeper, there's a lot of maybe genetic dimensions to it, and there's like very clear things. That's why I'm interested in learning about these things. But as a whole, I think I'm fortunate to have a lot of different health protocols that I think serve me well. I spend a lot of time, more than the average individual, really, learning about health. So, yeah, I'd be surprised if I stumble into, some major health problems. But even then, we're all human. Hell yeah. I be trying. Yeah, some nice all over the map soloing. I don't know. How old were you in high school? How old was I in high school? I mean, I was in high school, bro. I'm the same age everyone was in high school. Do you mean like how, like when was I in high school generationally? I mean, I was in high school 16 years ago. Yeah, I'm 31. I'm 31, bro. But yeah, I was in high school 16 years ago. Yeah. Technically 17 years ago, you know. But I look very young. I have those kind of genetic genes. Yeah. It's the answer. Answer the question. I literally just answered it, bruv. Literally just answered it, bro. Like, big yikes. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes, Cole, to think about what's exactly you bring here to this comment section. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't think you thought that one through. Bro. Oof, okay, I gotta take off one sec. Gotta take off these guitar amps. Gotta take off these electric amps. Goodbye. Take that. Magic. That's probably wise, Indigo. It's probably wise. That I did, yes. Of course I graduated high school. I mean, I guess maybe not, some people don't, but yeah, I graduated. Graduated in 2016. Yeah. Graduated in 2016 and did college, actually university. I was studying music, psychology, philosophy, and also some science. What was like, biology. That's what I was kind of focusing. Did that for about 4 years, and then COVID happened. And actually, I was in the middle of studying music therapy. Like I was either going to become a dietitian or study like nutrition, or I was going to go into music therapy. But long story short, COVID happened, and I actually just had a pivotal shift where I went full time into pursuing music and basically just going in the direction of just being a sound healer. Yeah. Yeah, but no, to Indigo, I think it's a good idea to, sit, practice observing and sitting. Especially, I feel like what I've noticed today, I feel I've been blessed these last few days where I've had some really beautiful, potent live streams, just attracting a very beautiful community of people, you know, very just like small percentages of people that I feel like, trolls or people that don't align with this community have shown up. But it feels like today the energy is in the air. There's been an interesting select few people. Some I know the one fellow was here yesterday that just kind of revealed that he was kind of, I don't know, he was just not a member of this community. He seemed just to be some bitter dude that didn't know how to communicate his opinions. But sometimes it's good to just be an observer. You know, if people project, or if people are trying to, evoke a response, evoke or confirm their own biases and their projections, naturally they just need to see themselves out. I'm not. We're all human beings. Rap, rock. What's going on here? I must say, don't spam the chat, Redbeard1. Nice. Exactly what I imagined Gathis had to do. Nice. I mean, the hat appeared after this act, bro, but the hat is just an extension of this. Institution in 2020. Nice. I bet you also imagine a dude with a hat like this would do this. And you're correct. The illusion is complete. Hope you guys are finding yourself rooting in your somatic body, just rooted in your experience, feeling into the felt experience, honoring your nervous systems in your experience, in your reality. The thing that often I feel like we disconnect from, we just don't really just listen into the way our nervous system is experiencing things, be it with stress, be it with our perceptions of stress, perceptions of other people. But often it's just an invitation to reintroduce our awareness to our nervous system. I really believe this. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. good night and good luck. Nice. Nice. Thanks, dog. Thanks, acidic creator. Yeah, we're just streaming here. Man, time has really flown by. Wow. What even is time flies by when you're having fun and dismissing trolls here left, right, and center. Can you only play with the bow only? Can you play with the bow only? That I can, brother. Let me just do a simple thing where I'm gonna coat the rosin and then amplify. Or that is accent the sound of the bow. Because I'd love to do that too, my friend. It definitely is a beautiful, beautiful sound. You know, it's just the violin and its fullness. Let's go. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 15, 12, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Yeah, it's getting pretty frayed. It's getting pretty frayed. I feel like if I apply a bit of what is it here? It's gonna sound horrendous, but I'm basically applying the rosin to the strings themselves here. Makes for a beautiful sound. Lego hat. That's an interesting stretch. Sure, let's call it a Lego hat. Sure. Let's make sure we're nice and in tune here. Kind of working. The attack is a little bit sharp, I feel. I actually think I just need to purchase another one of these because the horsehair gets a bit frayed, but yeah. Starting a band, was wondering if I should purchase a bass or an entire electric guitar. I hear that bass players are harder to find. It's a deciding factor. Interesting. Right now I play acoustic. Interesting. How old are you, Ocean, out of curiosity? I mean, depending on how old you are, you know, what your intentions with music are and how developed you are as a musician, I think you could, you know, you could probably get your hands on a decent bass that you could rock out and play with well, but also while trying to pursue electric guitar. Because I think it's important. I'm sure you could do bass. Like if you want to be like a vocalist and also a bassist, or you want to be a bassist that can also sort of fill in the blanks, not a bad idea if you want to just get into that place and, you know, experiment and explore different bands. But I personally, for me, I've always had a strong resonance with just being course, a guitarist or a vocalist. Like I feel like I have band projects that I would love to bring to life, and I would truly want to serve either being a guitarist or a vocalist. Maybe like a rhythm guitarist with vocals, or man, wow. But no. No, we're probably just gonna end this. It's all good. Baby. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to just exit my stream. Yeah. Patience is my only wealth. That's you get it, brother. That's what this stream is called. It's patience. About something to do with patience. Nah, but I have to probably exit anyways. I have some plans with a good friend of mine. Or actually, she's a content creator as well. We're gonna get together, go to some conscious, beautiful show. Exciting times, but yes, yes sir, yes sir. Thank you for thank you for sticking around. But we can now actively end the stream. As much as yeah, appreciate you guys sticking around. But yeah, to Ocean, just to expand or expound off of, yeah, I think truthfully, wherever you find yourself resonate with, like, realistically, like, whatever is attracting you the most musically. And honestly, it's an intelligent decision, I think, to desire to join a band. Like, if you want to strengthen performance, connect with other musicians, that will accelerate your learning process. Whether you're a bass player, a guitarist of any sort, it's like, yeah, it's whatever is like really inspiring you the most. And yeah, no wrong, it seems like. It seems like you're on you got two beautiful options. But anyways, thank you so much for chiming in. I just want to say, yeah, everyone's just joining now as I'm about to, let's go. I just want to say I'm grateful for everybody that's been present here, especially the last couple of days. People supporting the channel, being present for this intention. Really just being open to experiencing this channel. Experiencing music, sharing your perspective, and even those of you that are, the small percentage of those that are not aligned with this channel that pop in, try to figure out, try to unpackage their projections, relating to whatever's going on in their reality. We still have love for them too, even if they're not aligned with this channel and I'm gonna, send them on their way. It's like those are people, they're human beings. Like we're all just human beings here together. And it's like in an ideal world, who knows? When I'm a larger channel, I have moderators, maybe we'll have a bit of wiggle room, means to hold space for those that are, trying to figure these things out. But yeah, I think it's important to set boundaries in life in every given reality, whether we're talking about a YouTube channel, whether we're talking about, walking down the streets or going on a dance floor. Just boundaries all day long, baby. It's like, if you can honor your boundaries, if you can honor your sacred yes and your sacred no in relation to other people. Because this is the thing that I really want to articulate, and this is just as a closing thought. And actually, this is advice I gave to my other friend, who's a lovely, profound individual that I'm actually going to collaborate with. She's also a content creator. Beautiful soul. She's from Australia. Very interesting, very well-spoken, philosophical individual. But anyways, basically, there is something extremely important to recognize in the realm of, social media land, right? In YouTube land, right? We as human beings, we are fundamentally allowed to set boundaries at any given point for any given reason. You realize that, right? This is the fundamental pretext or pretense. This is the truth. You are allowed to set boundaries. No one on any given right is entitled to your energy. Now, this is especially important if you are a woman. Women, they're almost like they're operating on various things where, men, for whatever reason, may not understand the subtle nuances of boundaries, of consent. This is just an egregious part of the modern society. But long story short, you're allowed to set boundaries. Men or women, whoever you are, you're allowed to set a sacred boundary. If you're on social media and you're going through social media and maybe you're energetically exhausted or emotionally exhausted and someone's feeling like they're entitled to your energy, they maybe even low-key trying to manipulate this interaction, you're allowed to disconnect. You're allowed to set a boundary at any given point for any given reason. You don't even have to have a conscious reason why. You're allowed to do that. Social media, for some reason, reinforces this broken narrative that we are always entitled to each other's energy at any given time. It's like, you open an app and just because you're online or you're, there in some context, people think, oh, wow, I'm entitled to this person's energy. That is not how human beings fundamentally operate. And honoring each other's boundaries really comes from a place of learning to just honor your own boundaries, letting yourself know that you're allowed to honor these sacred boundaries that you yourself set and can set and reinforce and enforce at any given time. So I really want to articulate that because, for even any of you that are present on the stream, regular community, new community, and you pop in and, some people will say some things and I'll be, you know what? I'm gonna send them on their way. Like no thoughts. Maybe I'll say a couple words and I'll, remove their comment rights from this channel. That is me reinforcing a healthy boundary. And for those that are, again, almost like, so disconnected or even dissonant to what your healthy boundaries are, this is a beautiful example of recognizing you're allowed to set boundaries too in your life. And if you're a content creator yourself and you desire to grow a massive YouTube channel or whatever you desire to do, there is a massive lesson within honoring the art of what your boundaries are. Now, we all have different boundaries. We all have to set them at different times depending on what energy levels we're at, what we're dealing with in life, how our nervous system processes and deals with humans. But I'm telling you, you're allowed to honor your boundaries, whatever they are. And don't ever let someone tell you that, your boundaries are invalid or they can intrude your boundaries or they're entitled to your energy. That is not true. Anyways, so I met with my pastor. Interesting. Wow. Well, honestly, all the power to you, Dirty Motor, but brother, this is a music channel. This is a music channel about creative expression. I'm teaching music, talking about dimensions of, sure, growing content channel, being a successful YouTuber, how to, if I don't know, I'm figuring it out too, but it's, we try to stray away from Christian or religious ideology and political ideology. That's a part of the boundary of this channel. All the power to you, brother. You'll figure this out. I believe in you. And I don't know which unknown's saying, but I think you're requesting for me to ban you from this channel probably in the future. But yeah, we'll handle that later. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me here. If you feel this content resonates with you, if you want to support this vision, this journey, basically I teach guitar, I do meditative sound journeys, among various things. And yeah, whoa, oh no, whoa. I accidentally bonged the thing, but yeah. Anyways, feel free to subscribe to this channel if you desire to. Thank you so much. Much love. Bless. Ashe. Remember to honor yourself